The Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privileges of the floor will kindly retire to the gallery. The senators and all in attendance will stand and be led in prayer by the Reverend Mark Morrow, Crosswalk Church, Williamsburg. Reverend Morrow, welcome.
Good afternoon. Let's pray. Almighty God, we pause to acknowledge you. As a citizen of this great Commonwealth, I pray for each and every one of these legislators. We are so grateful for their sacrificial service, not only here in Richmond these 6 weeks, but also back in their home jurisdictions throughout the rest of the year when they have to attend to so many countless functions as elected officials. I pray that you would grant them wisdom for the many issues upon which they will deliberate today, and may they possess a spirit of cooperation as they seek win-win solutions for the vast array of challenges that face us. And may you bestow upon them health and stamina to prevail when the pace becomes wearisome. God, we thank you for Virginia. May your sovereign hand continue to rest upon this beautiful place. We are grateful for your bountiful blessings. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. The clerk will call the roll. All those present will please vote aye. The clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Mr. President. Senate Journal for Tuesday, January 24th, 2017.
The senator from Northern Fairfax County, Senator Howe, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 3.
Ayes 37, noes 3. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will please report any communications from the House. The senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, I respectfully move that we waive the reading of any communications received from the House of Delegates.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the reading of the communication be waived? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 2.
Ayes 37, noes 2. The reading of the communication is waived. The clerk will please report any communications from the governor.
We do not have any, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The time has come to recognize visitors to the gallery and take up other matters for the morning hour. The junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeSteff.
Morning, Mr. President. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon, Senator.
I have two introductions. This morning in China, I believe. The first, from Virginia Beach, we have City Councilwoman Shannon Kane and Councilman Jim Woods with us today.
Thank you, Senator. Would Shannon Kane and Jim Wood please rise if you're with us? Thank you all for being here with us today, and welcome to Mr. Jefferson's capital, and thanks for making the trip from Virginia Beach. Hope everything is well there. Thanks for all you do for the great city. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering Shannon Kane and Jim Wood the warm welcome of the Senate. The junior senator from Virginia Beach.
And, Mr. President, if I may, for our second introduction, we have Hampton Roads Association of Commercial Real Estate, H.R. Aker, who are visiting the Capitol today to meet with their legislators on issues of importance to the commercial real estate industry. H.R. Aker represents over 550 members dedicated to promoting the best interests of commercial real estate in Hampton Roads. Mr. President, I hope we'll give the folks from H.R. Aker a warm welcome to the Senate.
Thank you, Senator. Would members from Hampton Roads Association for Commercial Real Estate please rise? Thank you all. Virginia Beach is well represented today. That's good. Thanks for making the trip today, and thanks for being here. We wish you safe travels back to Virginia Beach. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering members from the Hampton Roads Association for Commercial Real Estate the warm welcome of the Senate. The senator from Prince William, Senator McPike.
Mr. President, I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I'm pleased to welcome to the gallery today students and alumni from George Mason University. And on behalf of Senator Reeves, the senator from Spotsylvania, as well as the senior senator from Richmond City, Senator Sturtevant, as fellow GMU alums as well, to support their effort and welcome here to the Senate. Nearly 100 students and staff, as well as President Angel Cabrera are here today, as well as Senior Vice President J.J. Davis, on their annual Mason Lobby Day. I'm very proud of George Mason University for many reasons, but some of those include Mason's now the largest public university in Virginia. They've received the prestigious designation as being one of a top 115 research universities in the entire nation. Mason's enrollment has now grown by 18% in the last 10 years, attracting 31% of the state's total growth amongst four-year universities. And Mason has also been recognized as one of a handful of universities with almost zero difference in graduation rates amongst African Americans, Hispanics, and white students. This is a significant endeavor. They've been making fantastic strides, and Mason has been a leader in innovation in this area. And, Mr. President, I ask you to provide the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank you, Senator. Would members from George Mason University please rise? We can recognize you in your gold and green, and thank you all for being here today. What a great educational opportunity you all have, and as the good senator said, they're doing great things up at George Mason, so appreciate it, and we wish you the best in your endeavors. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering members from George Mason University the warm welcome of the Senate. The senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for the purposes of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
I'd like to welcome the Virginia Assisted Living Association today. They are a nonprofit dedicated to providing advocacy, communication, education, and resources to the assisted living industry in Virginia. The association represents more than 150 assisted living communities who provide care to over 12,000 residents throughout the Commonwealth. I'm delighted to have them here with us today as they advocate for their members. Please join me in offering them a warm welcome to the Senate.
Thank you, Senator. Would members from Virginia Assisted Living Association please rise? Thank you all for being with us this afternoon and speaking on behalf of my 92-year-old father. You all do wonderful work throughout the Commonwealth, and I guess someday we'll all be there and need the help of assisted living. So thanks for taking such good care of our elderly. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering members from the Virginia Assisted Living Association the warm welcome of the Senate. The senior senator from Bath County, Senator Deeds.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Today, hundreds of concerned mental health advocates from all corners of Virginia are participating in Mental Health Advocacy Day with the National Alliance on Mental Illness of Virginia, Vocal Virginia, Voices for Virginia's Children, Mental Health America Virginia, and the Campaign for Children's Mental Health. They're spending the day meeting with their elected officials, sharing their stories, advocating for adequate resources to improve and strengthen the mental health system for children and adults. Specifically, they're here today to advocate for passage of same-day access from the proposed budget, an increase in children's crisis and response services, and an increase in permanent supportive housing for adults with mental illness. These folks will tell you when they come by your office that half of all mental illnesses exhibit themselves by the time a person's 14 years old. It's critical that we raise awareness and defeat the stigma that prevents many people from receiving treatment. We've got a group from NAMI in the gallery. Mr. President, I'd ask you to give them the warm greetings of the Senate.
I will, thank you, and thank you for your leadership in that area too, Senator. Would members from the National Alliance for Mental Illness please rise? Thank you all, and as the senator from Bath County said, there's a tremendous need, and we want to make sure all individuals in Virginia have access to quality and affordable mental health care. So we appreciate you being here and advocating for that cause today. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering members from the National Alliance for Mental Illness the warm welcome of the Senate. The senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I try to eat lightly at lunchtime around here and usually confine myself to maybe a yogurt or something. But today we've got a group from Rockingham County, which you may have heard is the #1 ag-producing county in Virginia. But the Rockingham representatives from the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation Women's Committee is here. And they delivered to my desk a double helping of tomato sandwiches, which had some of the best winter tomatoes that I think I've ever had, and maybe even some homemade bread. And I understand that there are, I think, 750 of those sandwiches that may still be available over in the first floor of the Capitol. But, Mr. President, and actually also we're the #1 dairy-producing county in Virginia, and I've got two containers of milk, which I might share with somebody. Maybe a page would like some milk. But, Mr. President, I would ask you to extend the warm welcome of the Senate to Margaret Arbogast, Barbie Winstead, Sandy Puckett, and Ginger Shotwell from the Virginia Farm Bureau Women's Committee.
Thank you, Senator. If you leave here today hungry or thirsty, it's your own fault. So, would Margaret Arbogast, Barbie Winstead, Sandy Puckett, and Ginger Shotwell please rise if you're with us today? I looked to the wrong side. Thank you all so much, and thanks for keeping us well fed. And believe it or not, we do miss some meals here and there, so it's always very kind of you to be here to make sure our nutrition is where it should be. So I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering members from the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation Women's Committee from Rockingham County the warm welcome of the Senate. The senator from Chesterfield, Senator Chase.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to rise for the purposes of two introductions.
Senator has the floor.
On behalf of the Senate of Virginia, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to the esteemed representatives from the Fraternal Order Police of Virginia. And in attendance today, we have a dear friend of mine, President Kevin Carroll, who is not only one of my constituents, but is the president of the Fraternal Order Police for the state, Vice President John Orgberger, former President Marty Williams, and Tommy Stiles, the national trustee, who is also one of my constituents. The Fraternal Order of Police of Virginia is composed of 7,500 law enforcement officers from across the Commonwealth and from a wide variety of agencies and departments. And today is a very special day, Mr. President. Today is the 30th Annual Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, and I want to personally thank the Fraternal Order of Police and the larger law enforcement community for the great service that they do our state and for the sacrifices they make every day for the pursuit of justice. So I want to encourage all of our legislators to attend the Law Enforcement Appreciation today. There's a reception today at 5:30 this evening at the Virginia War Memorial. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Would members from the Fraternal Order of Police please rise? Thank you all for being with us today. And as the good senator from Chesterfield said, thank you for helping to keep our streets and our communities safe. And Kevin Carroll, thank you for your leadership. And just so you all know, Mr. Carroll sponsors and brings chili each year, the Boer's chili, which is always the #1 chili. He was unable to make it this year, but his chili actually won again this year. So thanks for doing that. And to all of you, thanks for being here. Thanks for advocating for what we need for our law enforcement agents across the Commonwealth. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering members from the Fraternal Order of Police the warm welcome of the Senate. The senator from Chesterfield, Senator Chase.
Thank you, Mr. President. And as I promised, I have a second introduction here. I'd also like to welcome the Community Coalition of Virginia. That's a statewide nonprofit organization that consists of representation of substance abuse prevention coalitions across the state to help prevent and reduce substance abuse and related risk factors. So we want to thank them for being here and for all they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Would members from the Community Coalition of Virginia please rise? Thank you all for being here. I enjoyed visiting with you all this morning. And as we discussed, opioid addiction is a challenge that we all in Virginia need to wrap our arms around. Over 1,000 deaths will occur this year. So we're sorry about that, but these folks need our help. So thank you for what you all do across the Commonwealth. I would ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering the warm welcome of the Senate to the Community Coalition of Virginia. The Senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rise for an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, like a few of you, I lead a double life. And this morning I had an argument in the Federal Appeals Court right next door, and my legal assistant came down to help me prepare for that, and she's in the gallery today. So I'd ask if she could be recognized by the body. Her name is Maggie Lubash. Thank you very much.
Would Maggie Lubash rise? Maggie, thank you for being here today, and thanks for helping the good senator from Fairfax City. Sounds like you all had an active morning, so hope everything went well for you. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering Maggie Lubash the warm welcome of the Senate. The senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've mentioned good food today, and add on to that, we have some delicious Brunswick stew on the member's desk. We have joining us some folks who started preparing that at 1:30 this morning, and so we're delighted some of them in the gallery today. On behalf of the gentlelady from Portsmouth and myself, I ask you to welcome the this year's Stewmaster winner, the Steed family, Bill, Beverly, and Chad, and those that are helping them today, Zach Maitland, William Stewart, Brenda Ruddick, and Wendy Wright. Please give them a warm welcome.
Thank you, Senator. Would members from the Brunswick County that provided us the Brunswick stew today please rise? It's great seeing you here. Your Brunswick stew was so delicious that we're actually going to give you 2 applauses. So thank you for being here. I know you all have been up late last night preparing this, and I appreciate you letting me come out and help stirring it a little bit too. So I'm going to take a little bit of credit for the taste of the stew today. So thanks again for being here, and we look forward to seeing you all each year, and hope we'll see you again next year. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering folks from Brunswick County the warm welcome of the Senate. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, I rise for purposes of an introduction in absentia.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. This morning, we started off with the invocation from a very close and long-term friend of mine, Mark Morrow. He ministers to many, many parishioners and had to leave early, actually, to go across the street. One of his parishioners and friends is in the final stages of leukemia, and he was going over to pray with them. Mark is an extraordinary gentleman. He came to Williamsburg about 19 years ago and started a church. And at the time that they started it, it began in his living room with 25 parishioners. They now have 5 locations and actually have opened some in Korea. So he has done some international traveling on that. He's an extraordinary guy. I don't know how he manages to balance his schedule, because those of us who are parents would reflect on it. He has 10 children. And so perhaps that's what led him to the ministry on it. But he really is an exceptional guy, and he and his wife, Pam, have been very involved in our community, and his son, Drew, was with him today. But I'm very appreciative that he was able to join us, and I'm sorry that he had to leave on some of his pastoral business.
Thank you, Senator. He did give us a wonderful message. So I would ask the Senate to please join me in offering a round of applause for the Reverend Mark Morrow out of Williamsburg, Virginia. The senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. There is a contingency of elected and appointed officials visiting the Capitol today. Some are over in the House of Delegates, but 3 of them are seated in the gallery, so I'd like to call your attention to those 3 who are on our side this morning, starting with my dear good friend, John Rowe, who is our new city manager. No, he was our city manager. He's now the mayor. Okay, and the vice mayor, Paige Cherry, and our city manager now, Dr. Lydia Patton. So on behalf of the senator from Hampton and the senator from Southern Chesapeake, I would appreciate it if you would extend to them the very warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank you, Senator. Would Mayor John Rowe, Vice Mayor Paige Cherry, and City Manager Dr. Lydia Patton please rise? And welcome and congratulations on your recent win. We're proud of you. And I think Senator Norman and I would both agree it's always good to have another cadet in the House. So thanks for being here. And thanks for doing all your great work in the city of Portsmouth. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering members from Portsmouth the warm welcome of the Senate. The senator from Russell County, Senator Chafin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for 2 introductions.
Senator has the floor.
I want to welcome to the Senate gallery both staff and board members of Spearhead Trails, which is located in my district and also Senator Carrico's district. Spearhead is an authority of the Commonwealth that's been vital in bringing to Southwest Virginia both private investors and also tourism dollars. Visitors from throughout the nation are visiting our trail systems, which are designed for off-road vehicles, biking, hiking, and equestrian. Spearhead currently has 260 miles of trails open on 5 trail systems and another 100 miles to be added this year. I know that you, Lieutenant Governor, also visited the Mountain View Trail in St. Paul just last July and saw firsthand the economic development growth that's been following the opening of these trails. Now, in the gallery with us today are the Interim Executive Director, Charlotte Mullins of Bristol, the Executive Director, Sean Lindsay of Gate City, the Authority Board Chairman, Jack McClanahan of Big Stone Gap. Please join me in giving these folks the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank you, Senator. Would members from the Spearhead Trails please rise? Thank you all for making the trip from St. Paul. And as the good Senator Chafin said, I really did enjoy my time out there. And for any of you either in the gallery or in the Senate, if you get a chance to go out to St. Paul and experience the Spearhead Trails, it's a great, just a great experience. So thank you all for being here, and we look forward to your visit. I know you're going to reach out and tell folks how great things you have out there in the Southwest and what it's done for tourism to your area. So it's always great seeing you, and welcome back anytime to Mr. Jefferson's Capitol. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering members from the Spearhead Trails the warm welcome of the Senate. The senator from Russell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also have here today with me a group of students and an advisor from the University of Virginia's College at Wise. University of Virginia's College at Wise is both, it's actually in Senator Carrico's district and kind of surrounded by my district. But it's an economic engine in Southwest Virginia, and currently it's growing its footprint and it's growing its student body. I can tell you that when it was known as Clinch Valley College, my wife graduated from there, and along with a couple of politically active twins known as the Kilgore Boys. So I would ask that you give the students and their advisor the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank you, Senator. Would members from the University of Virginia College at Wise please rise? Thank you all for being here. And as the Senator said, it's a really important part of workforce development out in the Southwest. So we appreciate what you're doing and helping to bring folks that are educated, help bring talent, and help bring, at the end of the day, good jobs to the Southwest. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering members from the University of Virginia's College at Wise the warm welcome of the Senate. The junior senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for purpose of an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Joining us in the gallery today, we have students and faculty from Virginia Union University here in the city of Richmond, which was founded in 1865 in the wake of the Civil War. Over at Lumpkin's Jail, also known as the Devil's Half Acre. It was one of the most notorious slave jails in the country at the time. And its owner, the widow of the owner of that jail herself, who had been a slave, gave that property to allow students to begin taking classes there to the newly emancipated slaves. Some of the more notable alumni from Virginia University include civil rights legends Wyatt T. Walker and Spotswood Robinson, Admiral Samuel Lee Gravely, the first African-American admiral of the Navy, two of my predecessors, former Governor Doug Wilder and Senator Benjamin Lambert, former Senator Henry Marsh, former delegates Dwight Jones and Mamie Bacote, our colleague across the hall, Delegate Dolores McQuinn, and two pretty good basketball players, Charles Oakley and Ben Wallace. The students are recipients and are very grateful for, many of them, the TAG grant, and are here to watch us in action and advocate on issues of importance. And so on behalf of the senior senator from the city of Richmond and the senator from Petersburg, I ask that the Senate give these students and faculty a warm welcome.
I will. Thank you, Senator. Would members from Virginia Union University please rise? What a great group you all have, and what a great educational opportunity you have, and thanks for being here today. And what an esteemed list of graduates from your university. And just on a side note, one of your alumni last night, Ben Wallace, played on the Senate's basketball team. We came up just a little bit short, but we're going to be back next year, and I hope Ben will be with us next year as well. But thank you all for being here today. It's always great seeing you, and wish you a great day here in the Capitol. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering members from the Virginia Union University the warm welcome of the Senate. The senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw.
Mr. President, I'd like to call your attention in the gallery and members of the Senate to welcome a group of 55 members from the Northern Virginia Association of Realtors, and they're here with Mary Beth Koya. They're all very active in the community, and I would ask that you extend to them a welcome from the Senate of Virginia.
Thank you, Senator. Would members from the Northern Virginia Realtors please rise? Wow, who's selling homes while you're here? So you have a great contingency. So thanks for being here, and hope things are going well up in Northern Virginia in the world of real estate. So wish you safe travels back there when you leave. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering members from the Northern Virginia Realtors the warm welcome of the Senate. The senator from Williamsburg, Senator Mason.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, today in the gallery we're joined by two of our newest members of the Williamsburg City Council and our new Assistant City Manager. First, I'll start with one of the youngest members of City Council ever, Ms. Barbara Ramsey, who is an alumni of the College of William and Mary. Returned to Williamsburg after an international career in business and became immediately involved in the community, and many of us were very happy to see her throw her hat in the ring for City Council this year, and she worked extremely hard and won. Our next member of City Council is the second student ever to be elected from the College of William and Mary. The gentleman from James City County spoke to a group yesterday and talked about how in his class at William and Mary he presses people to run for public office. Well, you can blame the senator from James City for that, because Benny Zhang is his protege and a great new member of City Council. Also, Mr. President, I wish I knew which of my colleagues to needle for us stealing Andrew Trevette from the western part of the state, but I don't. But that was an outstanding hire of a next-generation administrator and leader, and we are just thrilled to have these two new members of council and new administrator in the city of Williamsburg. So I hope you'll join the gentleman from James City County and me in offering the Senate a warm welcome.
Thank you, Senator. Would Barbara Ramsey, Benny Zhang, and Andrew Trevette please rise? Thanks for making your way from the great city of Williamsburg, and congratulations for your accomplishments. And, our son is a tribesman, so we had a lot of memorable times in the city of Williamsburg. So great part of Virginia, and thanks for what you all do to contribute. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering Barbara Ramsey, Benny Zhang, and Andrew Trevette the warm welcome of the Senate. Is there any other business for the morning hour? The senator from Franklin, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for the purposes of two introductions, as a matter of fact.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had the honor this morning of being on a legislative panel for the Virginia Chamber of Commerce. And I was so excited because on that legislative panel, I was going to be sitting with the senator from James City. So excited. I mean, this was like a pinnacle of my career until the senator from James City found out I was going to be on the panel, and he sent the senator from Bedford in his place. But be that as it may, Mr. Chairman, today is Chamber Day at the General Assembly. And I would like to recognize members of the Virginia Chamber of Commerce and those 30 regional chambers who are here today for Chamber Day in the General Assembly. The Virginia Chamber is a nonpartisan business advocacy organization that works in the legislative, regulatory, civic, and judicial arenas at the state and federal level to be a force for long-term economic growth in the Commonwealth. They are the largest business advocacy organization in the Commonwealth with more than 25,000 members. They'll be hosting at the Old Dominion Assembly legislative reception this evening at the Richmond Hilton downtown, and of course, you all are invited to attend. So please join me today in welcoming the members of the Virginia Chamber of Commerce and regional chambers of commerce on Chamber Day, and I would ask that you extend to them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank you, Senator. Would members from the Virginia Chamber rise? Senator, they may be watching from another room, but I enjoyed being with you all as well this morning, and we appreciate all that you do to support business development in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering members from the Virginia Chamber the warm welcome of the Senate. The senator from Franklin County.
The senator from James City said that after they heard me, they decided not to come today.
Well, that
Can you believe he said that?
That was the word on the street, Senator.
That was. Well, now that makes it all clear now for me, Mr. President. Mr. President, I also rise to introduce someone who I call a close friend. You know, in politics, we travel our districts, and many times we get to meet people, and sometimes it's only for an instant, but they make an impression for a lifetime. Other times, you get to meet them, and at that instant, you're also so impressed with them and who they are and what they do that they become friends for a lifetime. This gentleman who is with us today is one of those who is a friend for a lifetime and somebody I admire greatly. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, my friend Chad Martin is probably one of the greatest advocate in my area for the poor, for the downtrodden, for those seeking help. He has always been there at great sacrifice of his time and a great sacrifice of his emotion. When he could have been doing something else, he was there being the voice for the voiceless. And so for that, I admire him so greatly. And over the time, I've gotten to know him and found that he is the soldier of God. He has a heart of gold. And I swear, one of the best people that we have in the city of Martinsville. And so Chad not only reaches out and helps people, but he also decided for himself, because he wanted to make a difference, he wanted to make a change in the city of Martinsville that's been struggling for so long. So he decided to make that sacrifice that all of us here have made, and he ran for public office. And not only did he run for the City Council of Martinsville, he was elected with the widest margin of votes and was immediately elected by that body to become the vice chairman for the city of Martinsville. So, Mr. President, this is one of the greatest days for me to introduce one of the greatest friends I have. If you will extend to him the warm welcome of the Senate, I would most appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator. Would Vice Mayor Chad Martin please rise? Or what else can I say? Thanks for being here today, and congratulations. And as a good senator from Franklin County, thanks for your public service, and thanks for what you're doing for Martinsville, just a wonderful area of the Commonwealth. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering Vice Mayor Chad Martin the warm welcome of the Senate. The clerk will please call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Wednesday, January 25th, 2017. Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on third reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Good evening, Mr. President. Mr. President, I respectfully move that all the Senate bills on the third reading on the uncontested calendar, which would include all bills on pages 1 through 4, including Senate Bill 919 through Senate Bill 1469, be placed on their final passage in the block. If any senator desires to remove a Senate bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of that bill.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 1 through 4, Senate Bill 919 through Senate Bill 1469, be placed upon their final passage in the block, with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block. The clerk will please read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 919.
Mr. President.
Senator from Rockingham.
I'd ask that 919 come out of the block and buy for the day.
Without objection, 919 will come out of the block and buy for the day.
Senate Bill 1108. Senate Bill 1127. Senate Bill 1144, Senate Bill 1216.
Mr. President.
The senator from Fairfax City.
Could Senate Bill 1216 come out of the block and go by for the day?
Without objection, Senate Bill 1216 will come out of the block and buy for the day.
Senate Bill 1306, Senate Bill 1313, Senate Bill 1325.
Mr. President.
The senator from Roanoke County.
Can SB 1325 come out of the block, please?
Without objection, Senate Bill 1325 will come out of the block.
Senate Bill 1448, Senate Bill 1469.
The question is, shall the bills in the block pass? That is, all bills except for Senate Bill 919, 1216, and 1325. All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. The bills in the block pass. On page 4, Senate Bill 1325, the senator from Grayson County, Senator Carrico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that we pass the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Senate Bill 1330 or 1325 is an unusual bill for me. This came to me by the request of Wythe County. Now, normally I wouldn't be carrying these, but Wythe County had no control over where the federal highway system builds the interstates. The development of that project that they're doing off of I-81 is in close proximity to the interstate, and the current law requires you to be 3,000 feet. This bill narrows that scope just in that region where I-81 and the service road that connects is, and it allows a licensed establishment to be built there. I would be apprehensive, however, the state police, 4th Division State Police Headquarters is directly across the street. So each time you take a sip, a trooper drives by. I hope you'll pass the bill.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall Senate Bill 1325 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 4.
Ayes 36, noes 4. The bill passes.
Regular calendar Senate bills on third reading. Senate Bill 1150, a bill relating to alcoholic beverage control, bar bystander training.
The senator from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the motion.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. What this bill does is it directs the ABC board to make available to retail licensees who sell alcohol on their premises to also allow their employees to partake in a training module that is intended to help bartenders intervene when they see a potential case of sexual harassment or even sexual assault. This is voluntary. ABC has already created the training module, and there's some preliminary evidence to suggest that these kinds of programs work. There was an evaluation done on an area that was nearby, near a campus. They did analysis and found that actually the reporting of sexual assaults went down 11%. In that particular area after this bar bystander training had been implemented. So I strongly urge the ladies and gentlemen of the Senate to pass this measure. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall Senate Bill 1150 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 1204, a bill relating to source of dog or cat for sale local ordinance.
Senator from Accomack County, Senator Lewis.
Mr. President, I move the bill pass. And speaking to the motion.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, Senate Bill 1204 follows up on some work that was done in the Assembly in 2008, where we redefined and restricted Virginia commercial breeders trying to crack down on the bad apples in that group, specifically referred to oftentimes as puppy mills. What this Senate bill does is enable the localities some freedom in passing ordinances to restrict sales by pet stores in their localities so that products of puppy mills are not injected into the community. Virginia's laws regulating the sales of puppies and kittens have in some cases been ignored by these pet stores. Consumers are purchasing animals that are extremely sick and have much higher potential for being undesirable behavior, including aggression, and they're also putting a strain on some of our city shelters. This bill is supported by shelters and also by the animal advocacy groups. Again, renew my motion that the bill pass.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall Senate Bill 1204 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The bill passes.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on second reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that all the Senate bills on the second reading on the uncontested calendar, which would include all Senate bills on pages 5 and 6, including Senate Bill 1006 through Senate Bill 1465, be advanced and engrossed to the third reading in the block after the adoption of any amendments. Any senator who desires to remove a bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of that bill.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall all Senate bills on second reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 5 through 6, Senate Bill 1006 through Senate Bill 1465, be engrossed and advanced to their third reading in the block after the adoption of amendments thereto, that any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to.
Senate Bill 1006, reported from the Committee on Education and Health with a substitute.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 1273, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice. Senate Bill 1377, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
Senator from Williamsburg, Senator Mason.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 1465, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice.
The question is, shall the Senate bills be engrossed and advanced to their third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills are engrossed and advanced to their third reading.
Regular calendar, Senate bills on second reading. Senate Bill 816, a bill relating to grand larceny and certain property crimes threshold. reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
The senator from Eastern Fairfax County, Senator Surville.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute.
Question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The substitute is agreed to. The senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Mr. President, I move the bill be engrossed and passed on to third reading.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 825, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with amendments, and there are 2 floor amendments.
The junior senator from Loudoun, Senator Wexton.
Mr. President, I move the committee amendments.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are agreed to. The junior senator from Loudoun.
Mr. President, I waive the reading of the floor amendments.
Question is, shall the reading of the floor amendments be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendments is waived. The senator from Loudoun.
Mr. President, I move the floor amendments, and speaking to that motion.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. The bill as introduced called for these petitions to be filed in the Court of Appeals, which would then pass them on to the respective circuit courts where the convictions took place. That was an unnecessary step, so these amendments simply remove the requirement that that these petitions be filed in the Court of Appeals. They instead will be filed directly in the circuit courts from which the convictions arose.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the floor amendments be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendments are agreed to. The junior senator from Loudoun.
Mr. President, I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 862, a bill relating to driving after forfeiture of license, reported for the Committee for Courts of Justice with amendments.
The senator from Eastern Fairfax County, Senator Surville.
Mr. President, I move the committee amendments.
Question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are agreed to. The senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Mr. President, I move the bill be engrossed and passed on to third reading.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1047, a bill relating to DCJS training standards, community engaged policing, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice.
Senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1091, a bill relating to marijuana offenses, driver's license forfeiture, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice.
Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1298, a bill relating to possession or distribution of marijuana for medical purposes exemptions, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice.
Senator from Fauquier County, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1347, a bill relating to concealed weapons permits, concealed weapons other than firearms, furnishing certain weapons to minors, furnishing certain weapons, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
The senator from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the committee substitute.
The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The substitute is agreed to. The senator from Spotsylvania.
Mr. President, I'd ask that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1474, a bill relating to resisting arrest penalty, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with amendments.
The junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeSteff.
Mr. President, I'd like to adopt the committee amendments.
The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are agreed to. The junior senator from Virginia Beach.
Mr. President, I'd like to move that the amendments be adopted and the bill be engrossed and moved on to its third reading.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on first reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, I would now move all the Senate bills on the first reading on both the uncontested and regular calendar, which would include all Senate bills on pages 10 through 22, including Senate Bill 798 through Senate Bill 1437, that the rules of the Senate be suspended and the first constitutional reading of the titles be dispensed with.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the first reading of the titles of Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 10 through 22, Senate Bill 798 through Senate Bill 1437, be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. The senator from James City County.
Mr. President, I would now move that all the bills be passed by for the day, sir.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars now on second reading go by for the day? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills will go by for the day. Is there any other business for the Senate? Senator from James City County.
Thank you, Mr. President. Inquiry of the clerk. Does that complete today's calendar, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any other business for the Senate?
Mr. President.
Senator from Grayson County, Senator Carrico.
Can we return to the morning hour briefly for an introduction?
Yes, sir. Your senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I am honored that we're in the gallery today being visited by some constituents of mine from the town of Abingdon, the mayor, Kathy Lowe, the town attorney, Deborah Coffey Eisenhower, and the town councilwoman, Cindy Patterson, are here today with us in the gallery, and I'd hope the body would give them a warm welcome.
Thank you, Senator. Would Mayor Kathy Lowe, Town Attorney Deborah Coffey Eisenhower, and Town Councilwoman Cindy Patterson please rise? And your guests, please rise. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for your patience, and what a beautiful town Abington is, and I've enjoyed coming out there, and hopefully we'll come back again for another visit. So thanks for being here today. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering the folks from Abington, Virginia, the warm welcome of the Senate. The senator from Southern Fairfax County, Senator Barker.
Mr. President, I rise for an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I call your attention in the gallery to two students from Centerville High School, Nathan Lee and Alex Kim, who are visiting today and who will be presenting testimony on a bill this afternoon, along with the mother of one of the two students, and their teacher, Kathy Ruthing, who actually taught my daughter at a different high school in Fairfax County several years ago, and her husband. I hope it'd be your pleasure to recognize them and give them the warm welcome to the Senate.
Thank you, Senator. Would members from the Centerville High School please rise? Welcome, and looking forward to hearing your testimony this afternoon. Thanks for making the trip down from Northern Virginia, and we wish you the best this afternoon. I'd ask the members of the Senate to please join me in offering Mr. Nathan Lee and Alex Kim the warm welcome of the Senate. The senator from Hampton, Senator Locke.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise on a point of personal privilege.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. The close of year 3 in the McAuliffe administration has proven to be another example of the governor's leadership in building the new Virginia economy, and it's proven to be paying off. The governor announced December's unemployment rate data yesterday, and the results continue to show forward momentum. In addition to increasing the labor force for the 5th consecutive month, Virginia added more than 14,000 jobs, making the employment growth the most significant in the nation. Our employment rate dropped to 4.1%, down from 5.4% when the governor took office, and unemployment claims were the lowest Virginia has seen in over 40 years, since 1973. The efforts by this administration to transform Virginia's economy have been trending upwards since the end of its first year. It took the McAuliffe administration just 2 years to surpass the 4-year job creation totals of the previous administration. Although there are still challenges ahead, Governor McAuliffe's agenda to diversify the economy through targeted investments in education, workforce training, and infrastructure is building a foundation that is attracting and retaining the job creators and workforce in the emerging fields of the 24th century. And he has the numbers to prove it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for a lamentation.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, last night was our basketball game, and unfortunately we came out on the short end of the score. Before I do say that, there was a shooting contest beforehand, which we actually won, believe it or not, by the score of 81-19. And I will say, personally, I've never hit a half-court shot in my life. I hit 2. But unfortunately, that was not the real game. We would have done well to adjourn and immediately recess at that point. But we lost 31-17, but there were a lot of winners last night, if not for our team. First of all, the VCU band, pep band, and cheerleaders were there, cheered for both our game and the Governors versus the Lobbyists game. They did a great job. They came out on their time to do it. Secondly, the Lobbyists, who both raised money and then defeated the Governors team in a very well-played basketball game, which was the undercard to our game. The Governor's staff that was there and also played. Our coach, Mr. Hanger, Senator Hanger, as I call him, the Walter Matthau to our Bad News Bears, who unfortunately was a little bit too much of a nice guy, making sure that everybody got a chance to play, as much as I told him don't put certain people in, including myself, I might add. And then, of course, Massey Cancer Center, it was the beneficiary of last night's game. They had raised $21,000 as of tonight. This right here is what's known as a check. You're allowed to sign it, and it actually will transfer funds from your account to the charity. If you have one of these, please bring it by my office, which is in room 329. It is my intention to try and raise at least close to the $10,000 we raised last year. If I could ask everyone to at least consider $250, that will get us close to that goal. And then finally, the players. I was going to do this in the iambic pentameter, but I'm just going to do it a regular. Sturdivant, Northam, Barker, McPike, Mason, Suravel. I'm going to get to that. Am I leaving anybody else out? Reeves, by the way, Senator Reeves didn't score, but I did get a call from Jay Gruden yesterday who wanted to know if he was available for training camp. And then finally, I got to recognize the Senate pages. They were winners. They did a great job. They cheered us on. They made us look good. And they stayed enthusiastic, even though we were down by, I think, at one point, 22-5. But they did a great job, and we appreciate it. So, DeSteph, I'm sorry. I got Senator DeSteph I did not mention. But the bottom line is we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep trying to recruit celebrities. We do have at least one celebrity I have my eye on, and Senator Locke's helping me with that. It may be a 12-month process. But we're going to come back, and we're going to train. I'm going to have a fitness program this summer. But thank you all for supporting us, for supporting the Cancer Center, and we shall return.
Thank you, Senator. And I would just add our coach, who is a gentleman and a statesman. And this may be the first time in history I actually had a technical foul called on him last night. So the senator from Augusta.
Mr. President, could I address that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the rules was you had to maintain at least 3 senators on the table at a time, 3 members on the floor at the same time. Well, we needed some help, and our Sergeant of Arms was there. So I counted Hobie, our Sergeant of Arms, as a member of the Senate, and I had him on the floor. and they called a technical foul on me and stopped everything and shot foul shots. So I'm going to protest, make a formal protest. I think Hobie is a member of this Senate, appropriately so, and should be allowed to take his position on the floor. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. The junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeSteph.
Mr. President, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
While today we are conducting the business of the Commonwealth, the stock market hit an all-time record high, breaking the 20,000 barrier. I think that's good for anybody if they want to take a look at their 401k. No matter what you think of the gentleman in the White House, look at your 401k. I think your opinion may change just a little bit. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was just checking my stocks. He's right. This is great. He at least made my stocks great again, I can tell you that. I rise for the purposes of an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the body. Tonight, of course, we have usually receptions that are going on. The Chamber, of course, is having a reception tonight, as I said earlier. But also tonight, we're bringing here to Richmond the members of the Board of Directors of New College Institute. New College Institute in Martinsville, Virginia, of which they have made me the chairman of the board. That they may, hopefully that'll work out for them. They may grow to regret it. Let's hope it works out. But tonight at the Tobacco Company from 6 to 8, we are having a reception where we would love you to meet those great volunteers that serve on the board. They're leaders in industry, and they really care about the revitalization of Martinsville City and Southside Virginia. Emmett and myself are sponsoring. Emmett's buying, so free drinks on Emmett. I know you didn't know about that, Emmett, but you're buying. So we'd love to see you down there. I know you have a lot of different things to do, but if you could just stop by, that would mean so very much to us in the city of Martinsville. So 6 to 8 at the Tobacco Company. Look to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Western Fairfax County, Senator Marston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Quick point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. How many times have we heard from our colleagues in the House that they deserve more positions on boards and commissions because they have greater numbers? Well, because we have fewer numbers in relation to the technical foul granted to my friend, the gentleman from Augusta, excuse me, and that we should only have to have 2 senators on the floor, and they should have 3 House members on the floor. Fair is fair.
Thank you, Senator. Is there any other business to come before the Senate? The clerk will please report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Wednesday, January 25th, the Committee for Courts of Justice will meet 15 minutes after adjournment in Senate Room B. The Committee on Transportation will meet 15 minutes after adjournment in Senate Room A. That's a change. Transportation, 15 minutes after adjournment. The Finance Subcommittee on Transportation will meet at 4 p.m., 10th floor conference room. Senators Wagner, Saslaw, Newman, Carrico, Barker, and Donovan. The Rural Caucus will meet at 5 p.m. in the 3rd floor East conference room. Tomorrow, Thursday, January 26th, the Finance Subcommittee on Capital Outlay will meet at 8 a.m., 10th floor conference room. Senators Norman, Saslaw, Ruff, Wagner, and McDougall. The Hampton Roads Caucus will meet at 8 a.m., 6th floor Speakers Conference Room. The Committee on Education and Health will meet at 8:30 a.m., Senate Room B. The Commerce and Labor Subcommittee on Renewable Energy will meet at 9 a.m., 3rd floor East Conference Room. Senators Chafin, Wagner, Sturtevant, and Dance. The Republican Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m., Senate Room 2. The Democratic Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m. in Senate Room 1.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate stand adjourned until 12 o'clock noon tomorrow? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate stands adjourned until 12 o'clock noon tomorrow.